All right, so coming into the day here, I ended up taking one trade, and I lost today. I'm gonna go over the consequences to my trade and why I took the trade that I took. So coming into the day here, I was bullish. Coming into today's buys, again, long-term bullish, short-term bearish. The reason why I was bearish short-term is because, let's go over this. So at first, we did end up having, let me just delete all this. So at first we did have all this, London session low. We had SMT here, which was good, right? And this was London session low, right? And if you're looking at price here, again, we went higher and then again we came to equilibrium. SMT inside of a key level once again. And then what did price do? Inverse the hourly. And then after we inverse the hourly, again, price came back to equilibrium, tap into this, swept the high at the 15-minute, and then obviously we reverted back down to London session low. Again, pretty simple here. Okay, this is London session low. Again, we'll go it over one more time if that was too quick. As you can see here, there is a bearish SMT. See how NQ has the higher high. There's a high, sorry, not high, lower high. There's a high, there's a low, there's a higher low. Sorry, lower high, bro. I'm literally cooked. There's a high, a low, and then a lower high. And there's a high, low to a higher high. So, again, SMT there, pretty simple. There's a high, a low to a lower high, and then there's a high, a low to a higher high. Again, all happening inside of a key level right there. Tapped into the hourly, and then what did we do? We inversed this gap. Once this hourly gets inversed, we know we're going to go lower. And what is all this down here? Low resistance liquidity. So we want to see that get ran through. Again, now what I'm going to look for, a lower time frame range. Again, I always said 5-minute and above. In this case, we had a 15-minute and a 30-minute. So again, this would be the gap. And you would look for a short inside of this. Obviously, this is pre-market, so I didn't short any of this. None of this was good in my opinion. There was this 5-minute short, but you could go break even here, and then you get stopped at break even, or you can just kind of hold it to London session low. But again, that's not how I trade, so I wouldn't have taken anything here. The 5-minute inverse. Once we took this low, you go break even, and then you would have gotten stopped at break even. So, because of the 9:30 open, right? Or again, yeah, you most likely would have gotten stopped at break even. Yeah. So, yeah. And then coming into the day, I was like, all right, bet we have all these equal highs. This is all this low resistance above us. Like, again, I'm gonna show you guys how many stacked highs, equal highs we had. We had one here. Again, these are equal highs as well, right over here. Where is it? These were literally equal highs as well. Boom. Equal highs right there. Equal highs right there. We had equal highs right here. Again, so many equal highs. So I was like, bro, there's no way. We're going to revert higher at one point, right? So obviously, I was looking at these at first. So what did price end up doing? We ended up sweeping these lows here. London session low. And then we end up sweeping these 5-minute lows all the way down here. Again, and we put in an SMT here. Okay, that looked pretty clean. So I was like, all right, bet. This SMT's holding. And at first, I didn't care about this because I was like, no, we didn't tap this 4-hour in discount. So at first, I didn't even care about this. And I was like, wait, damn. Hold on. Just like playing so loud. So again, at first, I was like, damn, like this kind of, well, let me make sure it's recording. All right. I was like, at first I was like, damn, like I low-key want to see this 4-hour, but I was like, damn, did we tap discount? And we did tap discount. So we grabbed equilibrium, we tapped discount, we had a higher time frame, and then we had a sweep, and now we're looking for an inversion. That's our model. So I was like, damn, and there's SMT. I'm like, what's the highest time frame? And I'm like, oh shit, there's a 4-minute. Okay, so this is a 4-minute inversion. I was like, this is awesome. I looked at the time, it's within the 950 to 1010 macro, and I was like, all right, this should work, because again, we are so bullish. I think we're still so bullish. Like overall higher time frame, we're bullish. So I waited for a tap back in. It was just 3-minute. I was looking for a 3-minute tap back in. So as soon as price tapped in there, right here, I took a long. Well, my long was actually right here. I longed into this for value gap, and then I longed right there. So again, I went long here, and my stop was literally right around here. Okay, this would have been break even, and then I was looking for more. So this would be break even here. This is what I was looking at initially, right? But then price came in, obviously. So as I'm in this trade, I see this 3-minute BISI. I'm like, okay, like I do not want to see this get inverse, because if this gets inverse, I'm most likely gonna lose this trade. So I'm like, okay, this should still hold. This 3 minutes holding, and 10 a.m. opens. We open here at 10 a.m. and we sweep the low, and then we leave equal highs. I'm like, all right, once these equal highs get taken, and if we close above and create this order block here, we should keep pushing price higher. Like this 2 minute should not hold. So I was like, all right, if this 2 minute holds, like I'm gonna get stopped, and we're gonna come to the low, and we're gonna end up coming to this 4 hour. So I was like, I don't like it. And what did price end up doing here? So price ended up going higher. I moved my stop to the low here, risking less. I got stopped out, and then price literally went to my break even. Again, in this case, I don't feel like upset that, I don't feel upset that that I lower risk, because again, like 10 a.m. is opening lower, and once we take these equal highs, I don't want to see price revert, because we could revert from equal highs, and I wanted to see us pump higher here. We're tapping into this order block here. I do want to see price literally go higher, but the fact is that we didn't, and that's fine. Maybe in the future I'll put my stop at the low for the 4 minute, because usually when I take a 2 or 3 minute inversion, like that doesn't happen. Like I most of the time, like I put my stop at like the body. And today, like for the past, I've been journaling a lot, and I've realized for every time I take a 4 minute inversion and I try to put it at the low or at the order block, like I always get stopped, which is a little frustrating, and it goes in my favor. So I'm like, all right, like I'm just not gonna do that anymore. I've been journaling a lot recently, so I don't know if I put it at the low or at the body. Most likely from now on, I'm just gonna be putting it at the low if there's no clean bullish PD rate to put my stop loss at. But either way, this PD rate should have been respected, and this PD rate got disrespected. At least the consequent encroachment of it from this high to this low, we did close below this PD rate. So again, nothing really you can do. I'm not saying that I overmanaged my trade, but maybe I'm also saying this because it is break even hindsight. But I know that we should not be disrespecting this 3 minute bullish gap and closing below the 4 minute. Like that's just not efficient price action. If price action is clearly bullish, we're not gonna disrespect this bullish PDRA just to come tap the rejection block and then go higher. Like if that was the case, price would keep going higher. And no, we just kind of went to this intermediate term high, equal highs, and then slowed down all the way and then just went sideways. Like it's just not efficient, and that's fine. If the market wants to do that, be my guest, do your thing. You know what I mean? So I did actually a few things correct, which I will show you guys my journal. I already journaled for the day. So again, overall, although it's a red day, I'm not focusing again on it being a red day. I'm focusing on what I could have done better, execution wise, and I'm just gonna go over what I did do good. So, and then I'll go over what I could have done better once again. But again, so I follow all my rules today, and although the trade turned out to be a loss, I'm thinking long term. I'm going to keep being patient and trust myself and my model. It definitely bothered me that I lost the trade because I lowered risk due to price inversing the bullish PD arrays that were on my side, but we swept an internal low and started to get displacement higher, closing above 10 a.m. Oh, I forgot to mention too. This is 10. Oh yeah, I did actually mention this. 10 a.m. is here. We started closing above it and closing, validating this whole order block here. So I did say that. I'm like, so I moved my stop to the low, which I think was a great move today because the market actually gave me the opportunity. I just got emotional because price stopped me out and then went straight to my break even. But it doesn't matter because my model is profitable, so I will win long term. Then price gave me a potential play but never inverse, and I started to consolidate, which started to bother me, so I got off. So I'm actually going to go over that real quick. There was this play here. Once we closed above this, again we have a low, high, lower low. Once we close above this, we had a breaker, a higher high. So I was like, all right, bet, like Price is clearly delivering from a gap. Like, what is this delivering from? We're delivering from this 5-minute BISI. We came in here and then closed above. Now we have a clean range. Close above here. Now we can actually target this intermediate term high, so on and so forth, right? Plus, we had equal highs here. So this looked really good at the time. This looked very, very nice, and I really like this. So we had this 5-minute, and then price put in this bullish SMT right here. Boom. Price put in this bullish SMT while respecting the 5-minute. So now all I wanted to see was this 5-minute inverse. Again, I usually always look for a 1-minute model when the 5-minute inverses, but the reason why I don't need a 5-minute model is because we have equal highs, and again, in this occasion, like, this would be a continuation trade again. So again, I was okay with this. But again, I started getting annoyed because price just started consolidating. So I was like, yo, like, what is this? What are we doing? So we were literally here for 5, 10, 15, 20, and then 25. It was like 30 minutes of chop. So that already, like, I got annoyed because deep down, you have to be real with yourself. And deep down, I was getting emotional. Like, I wanted to make that money back, like, that I lost, you know, to have a winning day. But that's not the case. You know, I'm happy that I didn't act on those emotions, you know. And as a trader, like, when you're trying to build this consistency and you're trying to build that foundation of thinking long term, you're gonna have these emotions and you just cannot act on them. You know what I mean? Like, I obviously didn't act on them, and I don't act on them as much anymore, but I don't acknowledge them. And when you don't acknowledge these emotions and you kind of just sweep them under the rug, there's gonna be a day where your mental game is not there, and all those emotions will come out and you will just go on tilt, and it will cause you to blow your accounts and start all over again. And eventually it leads to burnouts, and eventually it leads to you feeling like you can't do it anymore and you're gonna want to quit. And I've gotten to that point where it's like, yo, like, I know what I'm doing. I can read price action so effortlessly. Why is it on some days that I just lose? What is it about it? Like, that is so annoying. And I followed my rules today. I did exactly what I did. It just happened to be a loss, and that is okay. I'm okay with the loss. Even though it should have been break even, I'm okay with the loss. I'm okay that I over risked at one point at that trade, on that trade, because again, I'm keeping a fixed risk where it's 375 no matter what. And I did the math wrong where I was risking like 420, and I was like, oh, I immediately took off a contract and it brought my risk straight back down to 375. So I'm happy I did that. And again, just like, I've had these emotions as well. Like, there was a point in my mind where I was like, yo, what if I just keep it on? It's so clear. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that, because that's rushing my process. Like, I'm not supposed to do this. I told myself I'm not gonna do that, so I immediately took off one contract on MNQ, and I waited for the trade. And look, it turned out to be a loss. Again, if I would have broken my rules and I would have kept the contract on, I would have felt like, yo, why did I do that? Like, I just lost more than I should have. I didn't focus on my risk management. I didn't wait for, you know, like a tap back in. What if I didn't wait for a tap back in and I just went in? I didn't wait for a tap back in. I didn't focus on risk management, and I didn't listen to myself. I broke my rules. Like, I follow my rules because of my edge, but I didn't follow my risk management plan. So that's not good, and I would have been upset. I'm not committed to that. But the fact is that I didn't do that. I actually focused on my edge. I focused on my discipline. I focused on my risk management, and I executed it accordingly to what I thought was given in that moment. And again, everything else is just minor mistakes, right? So that's what I did good, right? What I did bad, or not, I wouldn't say what I did bad, but I guess, like, in the future, I put myself future tip for 4-minute inversions. If there's no clear, like, bullish PD array, like an order block or like a clean breakaway to put your stop loss in, just put it at the 4-minute low. Because in this occasion and other occasions, if I would have done that, it would have been a break-even trade, being a break-even day, right? But these are very minor things. Like, overall, these are the big things to focus on, which is discipline, risk management, and execution, and controlling your emotions, understanding the trigger. And I understood that trigger today. I wanted to make it back, and that's why I got annoyed with this 5-minute, and I just decided to say, you know what, I'm off for the day. And look, started pumping, and look, going sideways again. Really nothing else I could really say. I don't think I'm gonna trade in the PM. This looks like terrible price action. If I do see something, I'll probably let you guys know. Probably on my reels. But other than that, I'm most likely not gonna trade. I'm gonna enjoy my day. So I'm gonna upload this, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.